Hi, I'm Lee Iridium. Hope everyone's doing all right. Of course, I've got Vamp with me today. Dio's around somewhere as well, so he's bound to come along later and annoy me because I'm doing a video, obviously. So I want to carry on with the overlooked and underrated artists, and I'm up to L, so I'm really getting there with this. And I want to dedicate this show to the one and only Jean Londe. I go on and on and on about Jean Londe, and I will keep going on and on and on about Jean Londe until, you know, my last breath, because for me, he is one of the greatest vocalists, songwriters out there at the moment. If you like all your heavy rock and metal to be melodic, this is the guy. Comparisons, and you got to go comparisons, because without a doubt he's never, you know, sort of shone away from his influences, which as soon as you hear his voice, he's got his own voice as well, but there's definite David Coverdale stroke Rodney James Dio influences, and I suppose that's why I love him so much. How good is David Coverdale and how good is Rodney James Dio? And we're talking in their prime, you know, Coverdale in his prime, you know, way back when, even though, you know, I appreciate everything David Coverdale does now. Rodney James Dio was in his prime forever. He was in his prime until he done that last gig with Heaven and Hell. You know, his voice was just amazing. But we talk about Jean Londe. I'm telling you now, Sabbath, if they want to do something now in the vein of Ronnie Dio, they need to do some music with Jean Londe. My opinion only, of course. So this show is dedicated, as I said, to Jean Londe. Definitely overlooked and underrated by a lot of people, especially maybe in the US, I would say, overlooked and underrated. His music might not be hitting the US market as well as it does in Europe. I don't know, but I know that a lot of people still haven't heard of him for some reason. He's been going a long time. So, Norwegian, like I said, hard rock, heavy metal, some symphonic, progressive stuff now and again, but always that melodic, you know, rock and metal I'm talking about. So, been going a long time as well. You know, I mean, I'm talking about him as if he's new, but he was first appeared probably in the 90s, just a little bit late. You know what? If he was 20 years older and he was back in the 80s, you know, at a young age, we'd be talking about him now like we do, honestly, about Dio and Coverdale and all those great classic rock singers, without a doubt. You know, he would have been huge, absolutely huge. So like I said, back in the 90s, he was first on the scene with Vagabond was one of the bands he was in with Ronnie Latecro of TNT. He did something with the Snakes, which was Bernie Marsden and Mickey Moody, for those Whitesnake fans. He done an album with those guys. He did also stuff with a band called, which is one of his most fans of Jean Londe, love the Ark stuff, and Millennium. I did a Millennium reaction probably 9 or 10 months ago on the channel. Beyond Twilight, all these little things he was mucking around about with. And then he brought his first solo album out in the year 2000 called Starfire. Now, this was one of them okay albums. Had quite a few cover versions on it as well. But it wasn't till 2001 and World Changer, which was just amazing. And I see roads without. So, what a great album. Still, I think it's one of his best albums. Had a little bit of progressive music going through it, but definitely harking back to the classic era of the 80s, if you like, the classic metal, late 70s, early 80s. But he sort of was niching his sound even a little bit more later on. But World Changer is still one of my favourite albums from Jean solo stuff. 2002 brought out a massive album with the band Master Plan. These are a couple of ex-Halloween members. What an amazing album, Master Plan. Check that one out. It's a self-titled album, 2002. Then he goes on to another solo album, Out to Every Nation, which was just brilliant. Rainbow shaker on a unicorn ride. I think he was more niching his sound into that Dio, Coverdale sort of voice now. You know, really harking back to that classic time. He brought the Duke out as well, an amazing album. And then in 2005, Frontiers. He joined Frontiers. Great label. And I'm so glad they did, because they promoted him really well over the years. But he did a project with Russell Allen, and it's the Alan Londe project. So what an amazing album. 2005, called The Battle. Absolutely fantastic album, in the vein of AOR, heavy metal as well, melodic heavy rock, all these things entwined into this just brilliant classic sound. And obviously Magnus Coulson as well was involved in the songwriting on this one. What an amazing guitarist. I did a little bit on him the other day. Amazing. Brought out a second album with Masterplan Aeronautics. Wasn't one of my favourites from them, but still a great album, you know, still carrying on and pushing his career with these other projects as well. 2007, the second album from Alan Londe, The Revenge. Absolutely amazing again, carrying on the same sort of lines of the first Alan Londe project. 2008, he teamed up with Tobias Sammet. If anyone doesn't know who that guy is, Ed Guy. He was in Ed Guy for a long time, singer. And now he's doing this Avantasia project, which is like a metal opera type thing. So he'd already done a few albums, but in 2008, he teamed up with Jean Londe. And man, brought out some brilliant, he was guesting on it. Jean Londe was guesting on some of the songs, not all of them. It's like a metal opera, like I said, so there's lots of different guest vocalists, guitarists, blah, blah, blah. But he was without a doubt, the sort of driving force behind this album for me. Carries on with his solo career again. Lonely Are the Brave was the next album. This is my road. Again, this was really a cool album. I think this might have been like one of the most biggest sellers for him at this point. His name was getting bigger, and he deserved everything he gets, but still overlooked in many markets. So 2009, Spirit Black, my favourite album from Jean Londe. Which is actually called Jean, his solo project. Spirit Black is just full up with brilliant heavy metal song after heavy metal song. Absolutely love that album. And then for me, in 2009, went back with Masterplan and released Time to Be King, and this is my favourite Masterplan album. I am flying with the wind, it's my time to be king. It's absolutely outstanding, full of epic songs all the way through. He was in such great form on this album. His voice has never let up, but amazing heights and power in his voice. Absolutely brilliant. 2010, Rodney Dio passed away, and we got a tribute album from Jean Londe. This is a song for Rodney James. So it was basically a whole album dedicated to Dio, covering a lot of his songs, but also doing like an original song tributing to Rodney Dio. This is how much he meant to him. And he also played with Heaven and Hell, which obviously Rodney Dio was the vocalist for. I don't know why they weren't called Black Sabbath, but they did a tribute to Dio and he was guest vocalist. Must have been amazing for Jean to, you know, look up to Tony Iommi, obviously, and all these guys and play with them. And I've seen some live footage, just held hand stuff, and he just sounds amazing. This is the choice. Please try out Tony Iommi. I know you're not watching this, but get Jean Londe to do an album. Go touring with him while he's just in such... I mean, he's getting on older now, but, you know, while he's in such great form, he's the perfect replacement for someone like Dio. He really is. Okay, 2010, we get another great album from Alan Londe, The Showdown. Still wait for a sign for the... Absolutely brilliant. None of these albums disappoint. The Alan Londe stuff. Them first three albums are amazing. 2012, another strong Jean record bring heavy rock to the land. Along the same lines as Spirit Black, but Spirit Black for me was the height of Jean's solo career. That was my favourite album, without a doubt. 2013, another album, Traveller, another good solid record. 2014, he goes back to the Jean Londe stuff again, The Great Divide. Now, Magnus Carlsen is not involved with this one, and I think the album itself was a bit affected by that. It was my least favourite out of the Alan Londe stuff, but it was still strong. That's how strong Jean Londe's work is, you know, over his whole career. When you get an album that probably a lot of bands will be and projects will be proud of, this was the least favourite for me. 2015, an absolutely amazing concept album called Dracula, Swing of Death. And he did this with Trond Halter, who was the Wigwam, ex-Wigwam guitarist, I believe, and he still might be in Jean's band now. Check out Dracula, Swing of Death. It's an absolutely amazing album. It's very cool. It's got like female vocalists. He's like the person who Dracula's in love with. Her name escapes my mind now. I remember all those old Hammer horror films. I can't even remember her name, but she does some great singing with Jean, swapping about, and he does most of the vocals, solo as well on there. Amazing heavy record. Just check that out. 2017, we have the last album from Jean, apart from he done some covers stuff, but the last proper studio album, Life on Death Road. And this, for me, even though he's had some great albums before this, this was like a return to form, even more progressive a little bit, harking back to, you know, the days of World Changer and stuff like that. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Like I said, he's done some cover out stuff and albums full of covers and stuff. And I'll tell you what, he does some great covers. And what he does, he chooses records that ain't particularly, you know, heavy metal. He does heavy metal covers as well, but he chooses like Bryan Adams' Lonely Nights. He did that, and it was a great version, an absolutely brilliant version of that. Check that out on YouTube. It's a brilliant song. And loads of live albums. He's guested on so much more than this. So I'm covering just the tip of the iceberg, mainly going through the solo stuff and, you know, the master plan stuff and the Alan Londe stuff. But he's done loads of guest spots. I know we talk about busy men in metal all the time. He's one of them. Absolutely amazing. Love Jean Londe. If these clips on this video haven't got you interested, well, I might as well give up, because he's just amazing, man. Check out Jean Londe. This is not all my L's, by the way. I'm going to do another show on L's. I just wanted to make this one just about Jean. Amazing singer, songwriter. Check all his stuff out.